Hi, my name is Ale Torres, and I will be presenting my updated version of Rollerball game that we've made in Unity 1, and this would be for Unity 2. Okay, so here in our hierarchy, we have our ball, which is our player, our different variations of floors, our walls that are here in the main lobby, some coins I've spread out throughout the map, our death wall, which when the player collides with these death walls, um, we've reset the scene and the player has to restart from the beginning. Some platforms, which the player just jumps onto. Our respawn controls, I've made a mesh at the very bottom so that if the player falls and collides with this mesh, it'll restart not restart the scene, but it'll respawn us from the very top of the lobby. It'll keep our original score count, and it just teleports you right back. I have a slide. I made a little flag just for aesthetic purposes. In our canvas, we have our win text and our count text. Okay. In our code, we have our player movement. We have camera controller, a rotator, a player death script, and a respawn player. Within our player movement, we have, most importantly, I made a parameter where it calls on our movement, so we're getting our horizontal, vertical, and axis, and whenever the player presses down, or space in this case, we are jumping and we're adding force to that. Um, and we have our movement here, so we're just adding force to how fast we're moving. And these parameters I have called upon up here in our update function, and I call these parameters right here in our fixed update, so our movements. And then down here is our on-trigger collider. Once the player collides with any object with the tag coin, it'll set them to false and increase our score up. And again, they're called up here in the update. And in our camera controller, we are basically calling for the player's transform position, plus it's telling us the X offset, the Y offset, and the Z offset, and it tells the camera to look down at the player, so this is what the look at function does. Our rotator, this is just for the coins. This is just rotating the coins on the z-axis 30 degrees, and we can increase or decrease the speed of our rotation within Unity. Our player death, so if the player hits one of our lava death walls, the scene completely resets, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm calling on for the scene, and if so this script is within my mesh at the very bottom, or my mesh within the wall. If a collision is detected with the tag player, which our ball is tagged player, it loads the scene up right up again, and it'll restart everything. And then respawn, this is only when you fall down and hit our mesh at the very bottom. It'll get the player position and it'll put it right into our respawn point position, which I'll show in a second. Um, my respawn point would be right up here, and it just drops the ball down. Okay. In the top left corner, we have our score count. And as you can see here, once we collide with the coins, our score increases. These are little lava blocks, so let's say if we touch it, our entire scene restarts and we start back from zero. But let's say, oh no, I fell down, I collide with the mesh, and it just respawns me into the lobby. So that way you can keep your score if you fall on an accident. But these are our death. Um, Blocks. Same thing goes with this lava on the floor here. As you can see, it's a I've made it quite difficult to get through, so I'm going to pause here and move on to the last component of the game. Okay, we've made it to the end of the platform, and I'm just going to collect the last few coins, and yay, we've won. So once the score count equals 11, a you win text comes above the player, and that is all.